What are the best and worst recovery methods for muscle growth? In this video, I'm talking to the experts to rank 15 of the most popular recovery methods on a tier list from S for super to F for fail. And at the end, we'll decide which method is the absolute best by raising it to S tier star, and which is the absolute worst for recovery by demoting it to F tier minus. To make sure your go-to recovery method doesn't end up in F tier, it's gonna have to tick 3 boxes. Number 1, if it doesn't legitimately support or promote muscle repair or recovery, it's going in F tier. No exceptions. Number 2, it needs to have solid scientific evidence backing it up. And thirdly, it has to have at least one short or long-term benefit to reduce muscle soreness. And the more positive effects it has on recovery in total, the higher it will rank up the list. But first, we need to define what we're actually recovering from. Most people will be familiar with the muscle soreness that you feel a day or two after a workout. And this is called delayed onset muscle soreness, or DOMS, and is especially common in new lifters or when you switch up your training routine or come back after a break. Most people think this soreness comes directly from the damage you're creating in the muscle fibres when you're putting stress on them in the gym. But this is only half the story, because think about it. If the soreness was just coming from the tears in the muscle fibres themselves, then the pain would continue to build up throughout your workout. And it wouldn't explain why we only start to feel sore a day or two after. Of course, your perception of pain will also play a role, but essentially there's a little bit of a time delay between when you finish your workout and your body responding to that stress that you've put on it. So around 24 hours later, an inflammatory and an immune response starts to kick in, and that's when you begin to feel sore. So first on the list is a recovery method that most coaches recommend you do after your workout, and that's static stretching. Static stretches are typically held for over 15 to 30 seconds and are often thought to help increase flexibility and reduce risk of injury. But not all of the scientific literature agrees on the overall benefit of static stretching for true muscle recovery.
The short-term benefit will be a relaxation effect. You might feel nicer, and for a short period you might have an increased range of motion. A lot of the time we see with static stretching, there's no lasting effect with it. It probably isn't the best strategy in terms of muscle growth, recovery and repair.
So although static stretching might feel nice after your workout, it doesn't appear to have much of an impact on muscle recovery at all. So for that reason, it's going in F tier. The natural progression from static stretching is a form of dynamic stretching that's become a little bit more popular nowadays, and that's Pilates or yoga.
I think Pilates would have more long-term benefit because you're strengthening up muscles more so than static stretching, where you're just stretching out.
So due to the potential for slightly longer term benefits than static stretching, yoga and Pilates are going in C tier. The next one's a method that you probably wouldn't think about when someone says muscle recovery, and at first I was quite skeptical of this as well because it feels like you're not really doing anything. But in a recent interview, Professor of Neurobiology and Ophthalmology Dr. Andrew Huberman described the potential for breathwork to aid the recovery process.
Really, all those results speak to exactly what you're describing here, which is that deliberate respiration that involves controlled holds and exhales really has a dramatic and very immediate impact on reducing our levels of stress.
A lot of people, when they become tense in their muscles, everything's kind of connected. So I'd say people will hold their breath, muscles become tense. And sometimes when you can get someone just to, start doing some deep breathing, sometimes I'll get people to do deep breathing at the start of a session, especially with things like back pain. I think it can definitely be helpful.
There have been studies that have shown an improvement in performance in athletes who use breathworks as part of their workout routine. And it even looks very promising from a muscle recovery standpoint due to the associated relaxation effect. So for that reason, we're putting it in A tier. Active recovery is another common method that people tend to use post-workout, so things like going for a walk or going for a cycle. And the idea behind active recovery is to accelerate the removal of lactate and hydrogen from your muscles while stimulating blood flow into the localized tissue. A 2010 study found that following a high-intensity workout with an active recovery session performed at 60 to 100% of lactate threshold helped muscles recover faster than when a more passive recovery method was used. So since active recovery seems to have a bit of an edge on Pilates or yoga in terms of muscle recovery, it's going in B tier. Now, a lot of people think they can just foam roll their way out of any injury, but there's quite a lot of evidence to suggest that it might not be as effective as we hope.
I wouldn't promote foam rolling to anyone that comes into the clinic for any kind of a long-term effect. It's going to be very short-term. again, similar to static stretching, it might actually give you an increase in your range of motion. You might think, oh, that's good, but it's not going to last.
However, this 2015 study from the National Library of Medicine showed a significant decrease in DOMS in 8 participants after foam rolling at different time intervals after completing 10 sets of 10 reps of back squats. So I don't think the case is completely closed for foam rolling, but since there are definitely better recovery methods out there and the long-term benefits currently aren't completely clear, it's going in C tier. Another popular recovery device that you might have started to see around more often is massage guns. This recent 2023 study showed that although massage guns might help improve flexibility and range of motion in the short term, they either showed no improvements or a decrease in athletic performance.
There's very little benefit to using a massage gun. I see a lot of stuff online where people will promote them and they're sold and they're an easy sell. At the same time, it's unlikely going to do you any harm if you're just resting on the couch and you don't want to use your massage gun. I'm not going to be like, don't do that. There's no real contraindication in that terms. You'll also see on the other side of things a lot of physios and sports therapists saying it's an expensive piece of crap, basically.
Since massage guns are fairly new in the grand scheme of things and more scientific evidence would be needed to show any true benefit to muscle recovery, they're going in D tier. So sort of the next step up from massage guns would be something like deep tissue massage, with the idea being to help with muscle relaxation to reduce tension in the muscles and stimulate blood flow to help with recovery.
With the deep tissue massage, you can get some increases in range of motion. Sometimes it just helps the nervous system to relax a bit, and it can help people's pain decrease.
So in terms of the blood flow and stimulation effect you get with deep tissue massage, this has actually been shown to promote and speed up muscle recovery. So for that reason, along with it being a good method of overall stress relief, it's going in C tier. Another technique that's known to help stimulate blood flow and promote muscle recovery, especially after injury, is acupuncture. Acupuncture has also been shown to reduce inflammation, fatigue, and muscle soreness, and even improve energy levels and sleep.
It can be good in the short term when people come in first initially, just to get a bit of relief from their pain and try getting them on the road to rehab.
So it could be a good short-term method to help kickstart the recovery process, but I think it's particularly more applicable if you're recovering from an injury rather than something you would just do in general to help you recover from your workouts. So we're going to put it in D tier. This 2021 study showed that cupping is a bit of an interesting one, as it didn't appear to give the participants much short-term relief from muscular fatigue, but over a longer period of 24 hours, muscle fatigue reduced significantly.
Something that kind of comes in and out of fashion. You've just seen it in the Olympics. People have those big circles all over them. It's not something that's particularly backed with evidence in terms of its usefulness. You'll see a lot of high-level athletes with it, and I think people think, oh, I need to go get that. In terms of its effect on its tissues and your recovery, it's not going to be any better than rest.
This 2019 study stated that currently there's not one complete theory to describe the whole effects of cupping, and the long-term benefits currently aren't conclusive. So I think it's safe to agree that although it could be beneficial for some elite athletes, it's probably not necessary for your average lifter. It's going in D tier. Okay, so now we're going to dive into some more temperature-sensitive recovery methods, and you've probably already guessed where we're going.
Turn it on.
First, we're talking ice baths. It's important to note that reducing muscle soreness isn't a direct indicator of muscle recovery. And although ice baths can reduce local inflammation in skeletal muscle after resistance training, the actual repair of muscle tissue is pretty complicated and involves a lot of different factors and processes. Some research even suggests that reducing inflammation in the muscle after injury can often slow down muscle repair. So although cold water immersion might reduce your muscle soreness in the short term, if your goal is to build muscle, then getting in an ice bath straight after your workout probably isn't the best option due to the reduction in muscle protein synthesis, which affects your body's ability to repair and rebuild damaged muscle tissue. So ice baths are going in D tier. But what if you were to alternate spending some amount of time in the ice bath, but then going straight into hotter water or a sauna? This is called contrast water therapy. And in short, there isn't currently conclusive evidence on the exact ratio of hot to cold exposure you'd need to get the most benefit. And its effects on muscle recovery haven't been studied directly to date. So due to the similarities, we're going to put it on the same level as ice baths for now, but it's definitely still open for discussion. Now you might be thinking, if ice baths where you're fully immersed in the cold water are going to slow down muscle growth, what about cold showers? It's not going to be as intense as full-on cold immersion, so could cold showers be a better option? Here's what Professor of Kinesiology Dr. Andy Galpin said in a recent interview on the Science of Recovery.
Yeah, what I would actually say, if you're looking for recovery for muscle soreness, I would say cold shower is probably doing very little. Because you're not going to be able to get enough cold water onto any muscle besides basically your head. So maybe you could try a cold bath, and so you'd at least get some surface area coverage. But yeah, if you want to use cold shower for all the other awesome reasons to cold shower, that's totally great. But if you're trying to use that to recover your low back and glutes from being sore from training in a good way, it's probably not going to do much.
So cold showers are going in F tier. Switching gears a little bit, we're going to look at cryotherapy, which is essentially where you go in a chamber full of cold air around -100 to -180 degrees Celsius. That's pretty cold.
In terms of muscle repair, there's actually some evidence to say it slows muscle repair in some things.
This 2016 study compared the recovery effects of whole body cryotherapy and immersion in cold water for 10 subjects after they performed 5 sets of 15 reps on the leg curl. They found that 0, 24, 48 and 72 hours after training, cold water immersion was better at improving recovery than whole body cryotherapy and was measured by muscle soreness, counter movement jump height, and creatine kinase levels. Pretty much all of the scientific evidence we have to date shows that cryotherapy is actually worse than cold water immersion, so it's going in F tier. On the complete opposite end of the temperature scale, we have saunas. Getting in the sauna has been shown to enhance the muscle recovery process by increasing blood circulation and carrying oxygen-rich blood to oxygen-depleted muscle tissue. Heat also allows muscles to relax better and helps reduce muscle tension, which could also help speed up the recovery process. This study from the National Library of Medicine showed that even after just one sauna session, athletes had improved explosive strength and reduced muscle soreness. And since the sauna definitely outranks ice baths in terms of recovery, it's going in S tier. The next one is definitely one of the most simple recovery methods, but it's often overlooked, and that's sleep. Sleep is your body's natural recovery mechanism, and this study from the National Library of Medicine stated that sleep contributes an important role in the process of muscle recovery from damage including exercise or injury, and a lack of sleep can reduce muscle recovery due to the increased stimulation of protein degradation.
Recovery, muscle repair, cognitive function, and yeah, just your overall well-being. If you're getting, less than 7 to 9 hours sleep a night over a long period of time, it's even been shown to be carcinogenic to not get your adequate hours of sleep.
So it's safe to say that sleep is going in S tier. There are so many ways to improve your recovery after training, and although some are better than others, adding just a few of these into your workout routine is a great way to help you perform better, feel better, and keep smashing your fitness goals. But due to the fact that there's currently little, if any, evidence showing its benefits, and it might actually slow down muscle recovery, we're going to be demoting cryotherapy to F tier minus. But if I had to crown one, the best of the best, it would be sleep. Because no matter how long you spend in the sauna, how many massages you get, or how much stretching you do, none of that will make much of an impact if you're not getting quality sleep. That being said, pain and recovery in general is a very subjective topic, and some people might find great benefits from one particular recovery method, but you might find a completely different one that works better for you. Sometimes it can also come down to our perception. So if you've heard a certain recovery method is 100% guaranteed to work, it's going to be a lot more likely to work for you, even if some of the benefits might be coming from the placebo effect. Now, I know we've not touched on nutrition or supplementation at all in this video, and that's because it's a super important part of recovery that should be done alongside your other recovery methods. So to start dialing in your nutrition, check out this video next.